Now the next concept in macros is data interface functions. Data interface functions. Okay. Coming to this data interface functions. So using what we are creating a macro variable till now, using %let we are creating a macro variable, right? So from now what we can also create the macro variables using data step. Okay. Like using calls input function, we can also create macro variables. See here, since I don't have any data set, first I'll create the data set. Okay. Data, I'll create a data set called test with variable, say like x. Okay. Equal to SAS help dot class. Okay. So this is the data value. Okay. And now suppose say that whatever data value that we have here, okay, this data value, we want to keep that value, okay, that variable, this particular variable data value we want to keep in a macro variable. So you can create, since here we are going to create a macro variable, we don't need to create the data set, right? Without creating the data set, if you want to run the data step, you can make use of this underscore null underscore null underscore. From where you want to take the data? From test data set. Test call input. Now, so this particular variable data values you want to keep in a macro variable. Make use of calls input. Okay. In table quotations, you give the macro variable name, that which you want to create. Okay. So I want to create a macro variable called, say like y. Okay. And in that I want to store whatever data values that you have under this variable x, all the data values you want to keep in the macro variable y. So give that variable name and run. Okay. See, execute. Now you check what is the value that is present in macro variable y. Present y. See, check the log window. See, SAS help.class. Now, wherever you want to use the SAS help.class, you can just call this macro variable. PROC print data equals. So, rather than writing SAS help.class, you can simply write ampersand y. Okay. See. Okay. Like this, you can create the macro variable by using calls input, which is nothing but calls input. You are writing, whatever macro variable that you want to create, give that name, in which variable values you want to store in that particular macro variable, give that variable name. Okay. Clear with this one, creation of macro variable? Three of you?
Pavani,
Huh.
can't we keep this calls input statement in the test dataset under the X?
Uh, we can. You are asking like this, right?
Yeah.
Oh. Check log. We can actually check. How we can.
Okay.
Okay. We can write it here also.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. And the next one is SYMGET. SYMGET is nothing but, suppose say that if you want to create a data set variable from a macro variable, you can do that by using SYMGET. Okay. Data set variable, as in, suppose say that I want to create a data set called data. Some sample. Okay, sample is the data set that I want to create. In that I want to create a variable called say like subject. Okay, subject is the variable that I want to create, and in that subject whatever data values that we have in this macro variable y. Okay, what is the data value that we have, what is the value that we have in the macro variable y? SAS help dot class, right? So that SAS help dot class I want to assign as the data value to this variable, dataset variable. So macro variable value, I want to assign as the data value to the dataset variable. In that case, make use of symput. Symput right here. sorry, SYMGET, not SYMPUT. SYMGET, okay. What is the macro variable? Y. So now whatever value that you have in this macro variable Y, that will be assigned as a data value to this subject. Okay. Run this. Check the dataset sample. See. So like this, you can make a macro variable value as a dataset variable value by using SYMGET. Clear with SYMGET function? Hello? Yes. The next one is, the rest all are very easy, okay? The next one is SYMEXIST. Coming to the SYMEXIST, for suppose you want to check like whether a particular macro variable is present in the system or not, then you can make use of SYMEXIST. Okay? Data. Since we want to check, we don't need to create any data set, right? So without creating a data set, if you want to run the data step, make use of underscore null underscore. Now, so right here, if SYMEXIST of, suppose say that I want to check like whether this Y macro variable is present in the system or not, okay, equal to 1, then put yes. Okay, so whatever text that you want to give, you can give. Put is nothing but it will display the information in log window. Okay, else put whatever text that you want to give, you give. Else put no. Okay, and then okay, check the log window. See S, which means that macro variable Y is present in the system. Okay. Now, the next one is, suppose if you want to check that whether that macro variable is a global macro variable or not, then make use of the function called SYMGLOBAL. SYMGLOBAL, GLOBL, okay? SYMGLOBAL of is to 1, then put S. Else no. So if it is a global macro variable, you are asking to put the text S, else you are asking to put the text no. Okay. Check log window. See S, which means Y is a global macro variable. Okay. Now suppose say that if you want to delete any particular macro variable, you can delete it by making use of the function called SYMDEL. Okay. Right here, instead of SYMGLOBAL, right here SYMDEL. Why? Call SYMDEL. Okay. Call SYMDEL Y. Okay, and run, so that it will delete the macro variable Y from the system. Okay, if you want to check whether it has deleted or not, again run SYMEXIST. See, no, which means that macro variable Y got deleted. Okay, so like this you can delete the macro variables by using call SYMDEL. The next one is call execute. Coming to this call execute, let us develop a macro for this %macro. Okay. %. Now, if you want to call this particular macro pnt, how do you call it? By writing %pnt and write x equal to whatever that you want to print, you give that value here, right? Like say like SAS help.class. Okay. There is the other way. Using the data step also you can call the macro by using call execute. Okay. Data. Since you want to call the macro, no need to create a data set. So data underscore null. Then call execute. Okay, call execute right here. So what is the macro that you want to call? This is the macro that you want to call, right? In quotations. Okay, majorly in macro programming, you make use of double quotations only rather than single quotation. Okay, it will work nicely. Okay, then run. So like this also you can call the macro by using data step, by using call execute. Okay. First you create the macro and then now you call the macro. See? Okay. So this is the other way of calling the macro. This is one way and this is the other way. Okay. Now the next one is, are you clear with data interface functions? Calls, input, SYMGET, SYMGlobal, SYMDEL, SYMEXIST, call execute. Yes. Okay. Now the next one is auto calling the macros. Auto calling the macros or saving your macro in a permanently in a library or in some location, permanently in some location, because whatever macros that you are creating till now, they all are getting saved in work library. And whenever you close your SAS session, all this data will get erased automatically. So if you want to store it permanently in any location in your system, then you have to make use of three different options: SAS macro, SAS mstore, and autos, SAS autos. Okay, these are the three different options that you have to make use of. See, where we use this SAS mstore means, by using that option, you will specify to SAS in which particular library you want to save your macro. Okay, options. These are also global options only. Okay, options, SAS mstore, SAS mstore equal to in which library you want to save. Suppose if you want to save in SAS user library, make use of SAS mstore option to define the library name. Okay. Now mstore is nothing but by using mstore. Okay, by using this option mstore, what you are specifying, what you are telling is you are confirming it, like to store this following macro in the SAS user library. By using mstore, you will specify the library name, and by using this mstored option, you will confirm it, like store in that particular library. Okay. Now, when you are writing this macro, you put slash in the macro statement and write here store the source. Okay, store source, so that it will store all your particular source in the library that you specified. And now when you want to call the macro, okay, then you have to specify, right? Like in which particular default library is work library, so it will take all the data from work library. If you, since you are storing your macro in some other in other library, you have to specify that location, no, like where you have saved it. Make use of the option called SAS autos to specify. Okay. So options, SAS autos. When you want to use that, macro, make sure in which library you have stored that macro. Give that one. Okay. Now SAS will understand. So if you want to execute in SAS user library, see SAS macro. See, PNT macro got stored. Now, whenever you want to use it, first you run the SAS autos option and then you run this program so that it will be executed. Okay. Clear about how to store the macros permanently in any library other than work?
Pavani, if we don't write store source, does it
It will not.
store in the work library?
No, it will not work actually.
Okay.
Okay.
So we can't store in the work library at the same time. Only in one library we can store, in one permanent
You're asking,
library, is it?
okay, then wait. Let us remove this. Okay. No, it is storing in work library. If you are not defining that store source, SYURC, store source, then it is storing in work library. If you write it, it will store in the SAS user library.
Okay.
Okay, see PNT is there but not PNT1. Okay, now if you write store source, now it will store in see SAS library, user library.
Okay, Pavani.
Now the next one is creating macro variables using PROC SQL. We can create so initially I told you we can create macro variables in 3 different ways, right? One is calls input, %let and PROC SQL. Now we'll see how to create the macro variables using PROC SQL. Normal program only, PROC SQL, okay? Since we don't want to print anything in output window, just write no print, okay? Now, say like here first I'll do one calculation, like I'll calculate the maximum age, okay? So maximum of age is at maximum is age run class. Okay. Now I want to store this maximum age value in a macro variable. Okay. Then make use of the into option. Into, put colon and write give any macro variable name. I'll give the macro variable as P. Okay. So here you are creating a macro variable P and whatever is the maximum age value, you are storing that maximum age into this variable. Okay. By using into option, we can create a macro variable. If you want, you can check it by writing %put ampersand P. Execute. Check log. See 16. Like this, we can create the macro variables using PROC SQL. Okay. And suppose say that you want whatever name values. Name is the column that we have in like class data set. No, whatever name values that you have, data values, all that values you want to store in macro variable. Okay, any macro variable. Suppose say like P only. Now select that name variable. 19 data values, right? All that 19 values will be stored into the macro variable P. Select name into add from go to log. See, only the first name it is storing, right? If you want to store all the 19 values into P, right here separated by. Okay, separated by. You can give any special character. I'll give the special character as comma. Okay. You can give any special character. I'll give space, comma, space. Now it will store all that 19 values into the macro variable P. Okay. Now whenever you want to refer to all these 19 values, just refer to the macro variable P. Okay. Now suppose say that all these 19 values you want to store in 19 different macro variables. Okay. That also we can do by writing here PROC SQL store into P1 put colon to P19. No. Okay, P1 to P19. Now you say here P5, whatever is the fifth value, it will display that value. See, select name here. Then no need of this separated by, because we are storing each value in one variable, right? See Henry. Okay, like this you can create for multiple variables. At the same time, you can create multiple macro variables for different values at same time by making use of this one hyphen and colon. Okay, are you clear with this one? Creating macro variables with PROC SQL. Yes. Now the next one is using multiple ampersand. Okay, coming to this multiple ampersand. Suppose say that %let I'll create a macro variable called x, which is equal to say like value. Okay, so in that macro variable x, I'm storing the value as say like some list. Okay, that is the value that I'm storing. And after that, I'm creating another macro variable called %let, and that macro variable is ampersand x, which is equal to say like a, b, c. Okay, these values I'm storing. Now tell me this. If I write like %put ampersand x equal to triple ampersand x, can you give a guess like what value will be stored? I mean like what output you will be getting into the log window? Two ampersands will be resolved into single ampersand. So which is nothing but two ampersands will be dissolved into single ampersand. Okay. See here, you are writing ampersand x, right? It is nothing but whatever value that you are storing. It is nothing but the macro variable x. So whatever your value that you are storing in this x, that value, right? Which is nothing but list equal to triple ampersand. So first I told you like two ampersands will be dissolved into single ampersand. First you take this one as equal to, you write ampersand double ampersand x, okay, which will be equal to ampersand of ampersand x, okay, which is equal to what is the value. This is nothing but you are calling the macro by using ampersand, you are calling the macro variable ampersand x. What is the value that is stored in this ampersand x macro variable? ABC. So which will be equal to ABC. This concept is important in certification point of view. If you go for advanced certification, this kind of questions you will be getting. Are you clear with multiple ampersand concept?
Can you explain it again, Pavani?
Yeah. See here, I'm saying two ampersands will be dissolved into single ampersand. Okay. That is the key concept here. Now, here I'm creating a macro, here I want to create a macro variable called x with value list. I want to create another macro variable called ampersand x with values ABC. Okay. Now, if I write ampersand x equal to triple ampersand x, then what value will be stored? Here, generally, how do you call a macro variable? By using ampersand, right? So, ampersand x is nothing but here you are calling the macro variable x. What is the value that is stored in the macro variable? X list. So list equal to two ampersands will be dissolved into single ampersand. Okay. So ampersand of ampersand x. Now, by using ampersand, you are calling the macro variable ampersand x. What is the value that is stored in ampersand x? ABC. So, which is equal to ABC. Clear?
So it will be like list equal to ABC.
ABC, yes.
Is that the output? Okay. Yeah.
Let us execute the program. Say list equal to ABC.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is about macro programming. Okay. Once you practice, and let me know if you have any questions. Tomorrow we'll start ODS. Did I tell you about how to generate ODS like HTML report or RTF report like that?
No.
No. So tomorrow we'll see that. Okay. And day after tomorrow we'll see graphs. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So for this week, ODS and graphs will be done. And then from coming week, did we complete PROC import and export?
No.
No,
No, we didn't, Pavani.
Okay, then we'll complete that as well. Okay. And then from the next week, we'll start CDISC. clinical. Okay.
Okay. And Pavani, you told how to create the local macros then?
Local macros by using percent local. I told you, right?
Okay.
Percent let you are writing, right? Similarly, percent local. Equal to 10.
But it is only used within the program.
Within the program.
But percent
Only for one
let, if
program we
we
can
do,
use it.
percent let is a global one.
Global one, yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
Even global one you can also create by using the option called percent global. Okay.
So what is the difference between let and global?
There will be no difference, but it is just like we'll create the same. Here you are specifying like percent by writing percent global. You are defining like you are creating a global macro variable. Use a percent let also it is same. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
By using both you can create the macro global macro variables.
Okay, Pavani.
Okay then. See you tomorrow.
Yeah.